What's up, y'all? Shook here, back with another video on the Holy Paladin, doing some 3v3 with Sorgal on his enhancement shaman and Plum on his DK. Here's the gear that I'm rocking. These matches are from the second week of the season 1 of the War Within. So I did end up making my ring. I'm basically doubling those embellishments, the energy redistribution one. It's pretty good. It will chunk your health a little bit. I played around with like swapping beacons on having the beacon on me versus having a beacon on each of them, and I actually liked having a beacon on each of them better than leaving it on me. May change that with time, but for right now that's what I was doing. The build is the same build that I've been running in 2v2. Nothing has pretty much changed. Herald of the Sun, hero talents, and I've been running Searing Glare in 3s because it's just better than Denounce in 3s, especially if we can get triple blind, like if Plum can grip him in and get the blind, and then basically I'll run up and use Searing Glare. So those are the PvP talents that I'm using. That's about all I have to say for the build. Let's get into the games. This first match is against a jungle cleave. This is a pretty tough matchup. It's much tougher with a disc priest than a holy priest, although they do have the extra stun that they can get fears off and stuff like that. So right there, we got the diamond ice trap on me, and you can see their opener. They're doing a bunch of damage. I go ahead and use Hand of Sacrifice. He is going to MC me on the Hand of Sacrifice. You can see he's around the corner. So Plum gets dangerously low here. He's trying to move me as far away. I'm going to pop wings and try and pick everybody up. I am going to get silenced here, but I am able to recover a little bit. We do get the triple blind. I'm not going to run in just yet for the Searing Glare because I want to make sure we're like completely stable. It looks like the Feral has popped Heart of the Wild. What we want to do with a lot of these traps is have Plum use his AMS to try and stop them. Since he has a PvP talent that can put it on me, he can stop fears on me, he can stop the traps, and sometimes he can stop both of them. So that's going to be kind of the goal, just to disrupt their CC chain, because Jungle Cleave has a really crazy CC chain. So right here, I was trying to run to Sorgal to get in range of Trimmer because I knew the fear was coming. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to. You can see Sorgal get stunned over there, and I'm calling him like just LOS for a second. So he does run over here, and he's trying to LOS the Hunter, and Plum's trying to slow him down. I'm going to go ahead and use a Blessing of Protection. He's going to Lightning Lasso the Feral to stop this Cyclone on me. The Feral gets gripped over there. I guess the Priest was scared of him just getting, stunned and then destroyed. He does get the clone on Plum, and it looks like they are wanting to kind of just swap around, so they go ahead and put the clone on Sorgal, and they swap to Plum. He traps, and they overlap that clone, but it's diamond ice, so it doesn't matter. It looks like Sorgal is going to pop his wall here, but it's not quite enough. If he does get this clone, I may have to bubble. I do go ahead and bubble because he only has a few more seconds on this, and it looks like Plum does get the triple blind here. I'm going to run up Searing Glare. Got the Searing Glare on pretty much all of them, but one of them was in Turtle, the other one was in Greater Fade, so it made the Feral miss his interrupt. We get the stun here on the Feral. He's trying to stun me. Plum does use AMS on me, trying to stop any kind of CC that was coming in off that stun. And it looks like he's going to go for the Diamond Dice now, and he does get the Diamond Dice. So unfortunate we weren't able to stop that one, but we're going to keep trying to basically stop that. We just want to disrupt the CC chain. So right here I'm getting MC'd. We want to make sure we interrupt that. Whoever has an interrupt up or a stun or anything. I do pop wings, and you can see my wings while I was MC'd were doing damage to the team, so it's kind of an unfortunate thing if you do pop them and you get MC'd. That's what happens. So right here, we're ahead on mana actually over the Holy Priest. The Hunter is wanting to trap, so you can see me kind of running behind here. I don't really have an answer for this trap right now. We stopped the clone. He does use Roar of Sacrifice, and he's getting kind of dangerously low. Unfortunately, I did get locked there, and I'm going to get stunned into a possible fear, but you can see Plum used the AMS right there, so he stopped the fear and the trap, that's what I'm talking about. That's a huge play. It's going to turn the whole match around. I get Searing Glare here. That's going to make it to where the Feral can't clone. We're going to interrupt that second clone. We have pretty much all the momentum right now. The Priest doesn't have a trinket. I get the full Hodge onto him. I could have blinded off that, but I kind of want to just get into a better position. And it looks like, again, we are winning on mana. We do have trinket back up, so I'm going to go ahead and trinket this We're both topped off, and Blessing of Summer is coming back up, so I can either use that offensively or defensively, and we are just chunking this hunter right now. Looks like he's trying to use Cheetah to get away. Sorgal's getting a little bit of pressure. I think he's going to have Ascendance coming up here soon, or he might have already used it. Here comes the Greater Fade. The Plum stops the Fear with the AMS. Really heads up play again. So great play by Plum there, stopping 2 huge CCs, and we do take down the hunter. Now, right here, I was thinking they were just going to give up. They, in fact, did not give up, and they kept going. So I think I was taking a drink and getting like a little bit of sip of water here. Definitely should have kept playing seriously, because the Pharaoh can do a bunch of damage. I do juke him there, and I'm going to cast Searing Glare on him. It looks like he either melded it or whatever. He's going to get the full stun on me, so I'm going to go ahead and wall. We do have Lay on Hands available. I'm going to pop Wings and start to pick us back up, but these guys are in that never surrender, which this brings me to kind of my next point about, I got a question in one of the videos. I don't remember whether it was a Shaman one or one of the Priest one, I can't remember, but they said, how do you know this early in the season, like what is a good MMR to be queuing at? And the best way to look is go to like the top 1000 on the World of Warcraft website and look at what the rating is for the top 1000. So for instance, our matchmaking value in this one's like 1835. Some of these teams that we fight are like 1850. I think we fight a 1900 team. That's in the top 1000 for rating. So if we were to match our MMR, like get our current rating to our MMR, we would be in the top 1000. And that's about where you want to be if you want to be, 2400 at the end of the season. So it kind of tells you, just because this rating right now will be, nothing at the end of the season. Once inflation happens, 1800 will be very, very, very easy to obtain later in the season. But right now, you can see all the players that we're playing against. Like if you were to look them up, they're all going to be really good players, and that's just what happens, at the beginning of the season when there's not that much inflation. Of course, there are going to be players that are 2400 right now, but those are going to be your multi rank ones, the ones that play in BlizzCon, stuff like that. So that's just kind of a rule of thumb. Like if you're ever looking, all right, are we in the MMR range that we need to be? That's a good way to kind of judge it, especially no matter like where you're at in the season. So right here we have Cupid Cleave. This is another really popular comp, this time with a Disc Priest. I'm not keeping up my health. I need to pick myself back up so that energy redistribution beacon will work. We do get pain suppression on the hunter. We also get his survival. I'm going to run up here and cast Searing Glare on them. So there's the full Searing Glare, which is, again, that's what we want to get every time. If we can get both DPS and the Searing Glare, that's huge for us. You can see me kind of running away here to try and avoid some CC. I'm going to cast Tears Deliverance. They trapped Sorgal. I don't know whether that was on accident or not, but we are just getting all the pressure here. We've gotten most of their cooldowns. We still have both Blessing and Protections available. Their swap from them, I am going to get blinded here. I have Trinket available, but I'm just sitting. Here's Diamond Dice, so I'm going to go ahead and Trinket that. I missed my Hodge on the Priest. Unfortunate, he was in a Greater Fade. So that was a good heads up play by him. I should have just waited one more second. I'm going to go ahead and use a Blessing and Protection on Sorgal so he can stay offensive. Notice it does get purged off almost immediately. One thing that was nice about the Glimmer build is that you had just coverage for your Blessing or Protection where they couldn't just get it instantaneously. I do have Sorgal sacked here, so I'm not super worried about him dying. It looks like they were doing a little bit of damage to me. They're kind of starting to tip the scales back in their favor. We were doing good, but now we get the triple blind and I do get CC'd, and it looks like we're kind of on even footing until right here where we just destroy that hunter and that blind. So kind of a crazy turnaround, and they almost had the switch on us. So this next match is another really popular comp, one that I don't like healing against, is an Assassination Rogue and an Affliction Warlock. They are just kind of a rot cleave. Plum goes ahead and gets the triple blind here. I'm not quick enough quite yet to get in there. Maybe I can get the Searing Glare. It looks like I just missed it a little bit, but if I would have freed him myself, maybe a little sooner I could have got there. So right here, I toss Blessing of Summer out on Plum. I'm going to Hodge the Priest. It looks like he's going to Trinket that. There goes their bomb. If I'm not mistaken, they have two of those. You can see they're really chunking Plum here. So I'm going to pop wings, and I should be able to pick him up. Keep in mind that's through Blessing of Summer that I had on him, so any of his damage is also, or 18% of his damage is being converted into healing as well. So he's just taking a ton of damage. There's our grounding totem. It's going to ground almost all of that ultimate penitence, which is what we want. That's a really good use for grounding. Right here, Plum does use Lichborn. I get blinded, so I'm not going to trinket this because, well, Plum seems to be okay right here. I think we have kind of weathered the storm for a minute. I do get Holy Lock, though, and I really should have made sure I had enough Holy Power, or I should have been juking if I was going to do that. I go ahead and lay on hands Sorgal, and it looks like we're a little bit behind on mana. One thing I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video is on Tuesday, Holy Paladins are getting a pretty substantial buff. So you've heard me say, like, oh, you know, mana is kind of a problem. I go for drinks a lot. We're basically getting a 15% buff to our MP5 on Tuesday, which I think is huge. We're also getting a buff to Holy Shock and to Word of Glory / Eternal Flame, which is also really, really big. So I think Paladin's going to be back in the mix on Tuesday. I think that's really going to, you know, help us be able to compete with the other top healers like Dispriest and Preservation. So pretty excited about that. Those are just, I don't know, kind of some needed buffs. We'll see if the Holy Shock plus Word of Glory kind of puts us over the top. I was just thinking like the MP5 would be enough to like help compete, you know, where we could ride it into heavy dampening, but the triple buff, hey, I'll take it. So I am going to use my second Blessing of Protection here. You can see we are almost equal on mana now because Sorgal and Plum are doing, you know, pretty good damage over here. You can see Plum at the top of the damage meter. Sorgal is having trouble hitting things, but he has the Warlock hitting him and kind of slowing him and stuff like that, so it's harder for him to hit stuff. Plum can do more spread damage. I am going to go ahead and wings here. It's going to be unfortunate if I have to bubble. He does use Mark for death, but it looks like wings was enough to kind of counteract it. And it looks like he marked me, which was kind of interesting. I would have expected him to mark one of them. Also, you can see the Dark Glare out doing big damage, but now the Priest is almost completely We do get Cloak of Shadows. We have one Blessing of Protection available for Sorgal. They knocked me out of the blind, which again, huge. That's really good for us. I don't want to be sitting at full blind or having to use my trinket there. We still have bubble available, so really at this point, it's all about just like living. You can see me kind of juking with Tears Deliverance there. I was kind of trying to bait an interrupt. And I'm going to run all the way over here though and go ahead and cast Tears where I'm trying to range his interrupt. I have Blessing of Summer back available. I'm going to give that to Plum, and he's going to convert some of his damage into healing, and this match is pretty much over. So yeah, fun set of games, and we were playing at a pretty decent MMR, playing against good players. But let me know what you guys think. Have you been enjoying the season? If you are new here, be sure to subscribe, drop a like, helps me out a ton, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.